Before I get started with this story, shout out to Blackjack21 for sending it to me. And let me tell you something right now. This story is not only gruesome, but the reasoning for it being so gruesome is absolutely ridiculous and has to be one of the most dumbest things I've ever heard, ever. And you'll understand why. So this man's name is Teodoro Macias. And this is coming out of Colorado. And this guy killed 6 people at a party. And reasoning because he did not get an invite to this party. And I'm sitting here saying to myself, nowadays people will kill anybody for anything. This is exactly why everyone does not need to own a firearm. This is exactly why. But I'm going to go ahead and get into it. The man suspected of fatally shooting his girlfriend and 5 members of her extended family in a Colorado Springs mobile home had a history of jealous, controlling behavior and opened fire at the family's birthday party, in part because he was upset he wasn't invited to the celebration, police said Tuesday. Investigators believe Teodoro Macias, age 28, walked into a mobile home in the 2800 block of Preakness Way shortly after midnight Sunday and shot his girlfriend, 28-year-old Sandra Ibarra Perez, and the 5 others in a quick succession and in a deliberate manner, Colorado Springs Police Lieutenant Joe Frabable and said at a news conference Tuesday. The suspect then killed himself. At the core of this horrendous act is domestic violence, Chief Vince Niski said. The suspect displayed power and control issues. When he wasn't invited to a family gathering, the suspect responded by opening fire. Well, now I can see why he wasn't invited. Because this behavior that he displayed, that was not, in my opinion, a first time thing. It may have been the first time as far as it getting to that extreme, but it was boiling over for some time. Like, they probably knew of his behavior. And they knew not to invite him. Unfortunately, it cost them their lives, unfortunately. Those killed were identified as Melvin Perez, his wife, Myra, I'm guessing that's her name, Myra Ibarra de Perez, Melvin's brother, Jose Gutierrez, and the men's mother, Joanna Cruz. Also killed were Maria, I'm guessing is Myra, siblings Ibarra Perez and Jose Ibarra. The suspect and Ibarra Perez had been dating for about a year. While there were no official reports of domestic violence by Macias, Frabable said family members told investigators he was jealous, controlling, and tried to isolate Ibarra Perez from her family. Macias and Ibarra Perez family had a conflict a week prior to the shooting at a different gathering. The suspect lived in Colorado Springs and had no criminal record. Macias arrived at the Canterbury Park mobile home community by himself and entered the trailer where 7 adults and 3 children had gathered to celebrate birthdays. The suspect methodically shot 6 of the adults in a quick succession. So he knew to shoot at the adults and not the kids. So this was a targeted attack. So this was premeditated, which means if he had not killed himself and he was taken in, he definitely would have been charged with first-degree murder for sure. The 3 children, ages 2, 5, and 11, were in the main room of the home and witnessed the shooting, but later hid in one of the bedrooms. They were not physically harmed. One of the adults escaped the trailer unharmed. 3 teenagers who had been at the party left shortly before the shooting to get an item from the neighbor. They returned to the trailer just after the shooting and before police arrived. Police received 3 911 calls about the shooting, including one from the inside of the house, which dispatchers could hear rapid gunfire. When police arrived, only 1 injured person remained alive, but he died shortly thereafter. The killings left at least 3 children orphans, the police said. Police found 17 bullet casings in the mobile home and a semi-automatic pistol near the suspect, as well as 2 15-round magazines. A local gun store sold the gun in 2014 to someone other than Macias. Police continue to investigate how and when the suspect obtained the gun, which was not reported stolen. A relative of the suspect, identified as Chana Garcia, on Facebook, declined to comment Monday. Our family is not ready to release a statement at this time, she wrote in a message. Please allow us some time to grieve. The Mother's Day mass shooting is one of the deadliest in state history and happened just 7 weeks after a gunman killed 10 people at a grocery store in Boulder. It is the deadliest shooting in Colorado Springs history, Mayor John Suthers said. In Colorado, we've had domestic terrorism incidents where lots of people were killed. We've had random acts like going into King Supers or movie theaters, but let's not forget about the lethality of domestic violence. 9 of 39 people killed in homicides in the city last year died in connection to domestic violence, according to Colorado Springs police statistics. About a third of aggravated assaults in the city in the first 3 months of 2021 were related to domestic violence. Outside the victim's mobile home Tuesday, a handful of neighbors and strangers visited a small memorial outside the trailer despite the rain and sleet. They added flowers and balloons to the table outside, already filled with candles, teddy bears, and photos of the dead. Jerry Torres made the sign of the cross as he approached the table and said a small prayer. He called 911 the night of the shooting after he heard gunshots from his home a few trailers away. He heard screaming at first, he said, then silence. That's when I knew they were all gone. That's crazy. That's crazy. This man literally slaughtered pretty much an entire family, all because he wasn't invited to a birthday party. And they said that there was an incident that happened a week before where a gun was also involved. So they know that this guy definitely had some serious issues, and they didn't invite him for a reason. So like they said, it was a control thing. And usually when it comes to a domestic violence, whether it comes from the man or a woman, it's always a control thing. It's always a dominance, a power type of thing over the person. And they usually go after a person that they see as a weak target or someone they can easily manipulate or control. And I find that a lot of people who are people who are abusers to their spouses are someone who's been abused before, or maybe they grew up being a bully all their life. And then, you know, they decide that they're going to basically bully the person they're in a relationship with. And that's really all it boils down to. But it's a more intense level of bullying. So it's more than just calling the person names and saying obscenities about them. Now you're physically attacking them or making threats of killing them and everything like that. But as you can see, it boiled over to this extreme. And now all of them are dead, including himself. And he killed himself. First off, he's a coward regardless, because he killed the whole family and then killed himself. Like, he wasn't even man enough to face his own consequences for his actions. But I am glad, however, despite all of that happening, that he didn't kill the kids. Because who knows, in the midst of all his rage, he could have popped one of them or all of them if he wanted to. Luckily, they were not seen. They were not in plain sight, because he just went in there and he just unloaded. But I do offer my condolences to these individuals, though. That's crazy. Like, that's insane. All because he didn't get an invite. I can see why. He didn't get an invite. He didn't deserve one. This guy was definitely off his hinges. He was what you call a loose cannon. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.